The trio, LeBron, AD, Russell, they each scored over 25 points for the 5th time this year. But the question is you see how that stacks up, right? Will this be the trio that they keep? Heck, will it be the team they keep? LeBron James, here's his comments after the game.
Said you guys went 4-on-2 on the Strip. The next time you guys will play will be after the trade deadline. Do you feel like, as a team, you guys have proven or shown why you guys should continue to, invest in this current group?
Yeah. This is what we have, so there's nothing else to talk about.
Do you like the makeup of this roster? Do you think this roster is good enough to win a championship, or does there need to be changes made?
It's not a question for me. I love what we have in the locker room, and that's all I worry about. I don't get caught up in that. We're going to go out and prepare ourselves, every single night. It's my job, it's AD's job, it's two captains to make sure we keep the main thing, and the main focus is now.
Hey, Rich.
What?
What's it like to be LeBron James's teammate this time of year?
I think there's a big misconception here. Let me be very, very clear. If you're 2 games over 500, if you're Steph's teammate right now, if you are playing with a great player and the team is underperforming, everyone, I know we make this about LeBron. This isn't about LeBron. This is about having talent and not meeting those expectations. It doesn't matter if you're Chicago. It doesn't matter if you're Toronto. It doesn't matter what team you are. If you're not meeting the expectations, everyone's on the trade deadline. And I say that to be respectful in the sense that when the 2 years that I played with him, we were contending for a championship. There wasn't anybody that was stressed about getting traded because we were contending for a championship. That's on me. I'm saying in the 2 years that I was there, I didn't play for them for the 21 years.
He'd have shipped you out if he could have gotten somebody back.
100%. They did that with Anderson Varejao and brought in Channing Frye, and that was a key piece to us winning a championship. But this is professional sports. This isn't coddling. This is like, if we're not performing at the level that we deserve, at the level that the team, the fans, the organization, and one of the greatest players of all time, and it ain't just him, our next segment's about the Warriors. So I say that to be respectful and say that if you're not doing your job, if it's in this building, if it's another occupation, you're all on the clock. Everyone.
You don't feel like it's a natural thing, especially as the key player of the team, right? If they ask you, do you think you have enough to win with the roster? They're not saying, should we make trades, this, and that. I know that's what they'll write it up as. But you don't think a player could just simply just say, like, yeah, we have enough. You know what I mean? And then if something happens, something happens.
Well, I think you're asking him to lie. You're asking him to lie.
No, he's not lying. He's saying, yes, we have. They do have enough.
They do. But when I say the lie, when I say you're asking him to lie, I mean in the sense that they're 2 games below 500.
Listen, I have no problem with him.
All right, 2 games above. Excuse me.
The trade stuff, I have no problem having no comment on that because we all know that each. Like you said, it's no different on any team. The best player always has a say on what's in the roster. Everybody always has a say. But with that being said, he comes across, whether it's the hourglass or some of these things that he does, he plays both sides to it. And then they ask him about it, and he'll deny it. But just for the sake of, if something doesn't get done, and this is the roster that is there, wouldn't you want to at least try to you know what I mean?
I agree.
I ask you because you've been.
No, because I want to hear Wendy's thoughts on this. My only thing is this: we're dissecting what he's saying, not dissecting their team. Let's dissect their team.
Okay.
Where they are, where they've been, how they've played in the last 2 months. If we dissect that, who gives a damn what he thinks? Who gives a damn what somebody else thinks? Is this team good enough with the current roster?
Okay.
I mean, it's easy for you. You know how it is, though. In the locker room, bro,
everyone in the league right now. If you're not you're not one of the top. I'm saying there's multiple players in the league.
Yeah, but I would say that very few of LeBron's former teammates are his close friends. Very, very few.
Well, it's hard
because when LeBron is done with you, sayonara, I'll send flowers. LeBron will always send flowers because when he was a teenager, he decided he was going to maximize it. He was going to maximize his body. He was going to maximize the money he could earn. He was going to maximize what he could do for charity. And he's going to maximize each season.
Yeah.
And sometimes maximizing the season means making the second round.
Yep.
He would never say, I'm going to make the second round, but sometimes that's what you can do. What he wants is the Lakers front office to maximize what they can do by tomorrow afternoon.
Agreed.
He has scored 20 points in the last 10 games, playing through an ankle injury. He is 39 years old. He is maximized. Well, you could debate on what he's maximizing it on the defensive end, but he is trying to maximize this season.
Yep.
That's all he wants. And he's going to keep that pressure down until tomorrow or Thursday at 3 o'clock.
But when did that become a bad thing? No, I'm not saying that you're saying it's a bad thing.
Because people get annoyed at the passive-aggressive nature. It would be better if he just came out and said,
right, because
we're dissecting. I agreed. First of all, as I was traded, when D-Wade got in and there was another roster spot, we got traded. I'm still friends with LeBron because I understand that this is a business, and I'm not personally affected by this.
Yeah.
I would have traded him. If I was him and he was me, I would have traded him to bring in my best friend and to try and go and compete. This is business. And my thing with LeBron is this. Any great player should maximize it. I saw Tim Duncan on the back of the plane with Popovich trying to figure out what they were going to do. Now, Tim doesn't say anything, and they don't. But at the end of the day, great players should maximize their window. And if you are a casualty of that, then if I guarantee you, D'Angelo Russell or all of these players would not be up if they were in the 3rd or 4th spot. And that's not all their fault. It's not just, it goes around the blame.
As you can see, our Adrian Wojnarowski reporting here. So for more on Philadelphia's path without Embiid, we welcome in the aforementioned Woj. We know that Embiid is going to be out, Woj, for the All-Star game. What are the Sixers weighing as we're 48 hours away, essentially, from the trade deadline?
Malika, the Sixers are very much weighing the possibility that Joel Embiid does return this season, that they can still play with him as their centerpiece. And because of that, they're going to continue to be buyers at this trade deadline. And I think they're trying to improve themselves on multiple fronts. Perhaps is there a backup center who can help carry them here in the short term? There's certainly a number of them available. There are a lot of teams in the market for backup centers, potentially players like Andre Drummond, who has been in Philadelphia before, Kelly Olynyk. Those are some of the guys in that marketplace, but doing bigger things than that. What Philly wants to do, they're in 5th place right now in the East. They're 3 games up on Indiana. What Philly would like to be able to do is stay at least in 6th place, not drop out into the play-in, and see if they can maintain that until Joel Embiid gets back or once he gets back. And I think for them, that's certainly a short-term goal. But they're out. They're aggressive. They know they have a tight window with Joel Embiid. They know there's risk in doing a deal or deals here, and then he doesn't come back this season or he's not himself. But I think they're willing to live with that risk because they have certainly, the reigning MVP, a player who was on his way to another MVP this season. And if they can have him healthy in the playoffs or healthy enough, they want to have a group around him that gives them a chance.
Right. They want to be able to maximize if and when Joel Embiid returns to the floor. Woj, thank you so very much. I want to bring it back in studio here. Brian, what does it tell you that the 76ers are planning to be buyers at the trade deadline?
People may not consider that a Woj bomb, but that's one of the most important pieces of information that we've had so far in this trade deadline, that the Sixers are going to be aggressive still after this Embiid surgery. So in addition to backup centers, look for them to potentially try to get another guard. They're very thin behind Maxey, and they're going to need some more support from that perimeter position. And look, Daryl Morey is a man with a plan. He always knows that he's going to, what his options are. So I would look for them to try to find hedge trades where they can acquire players who can help them now but do not have a lot left on their contracts, so that no matter what happens with Embiid this season, they can still retain the majority of their salary cap space this summer, where they can maybe plan more for the future.
You hear that? Pay attention to the fact that the 76ers are buyers at the trade deadline. It's a covert Woj bomb there, as Wendy pointed out. But with all of the success, right, that the Philadelphia 76ers had been having with Joel Embiid, we were talking about it. Maybe he could be on his way to another MVP. Now he is out of contention for that. So should we be looking to a team like, I don't know, the Clippers, and I don't know, maybe Kawhi Leonard, who's only just moved up to 6th in the MVP odds here? Why, Richard, isn't Kawhi getting a little bit more attention in the MVP race?
Well, I think partly because he is not given the sole credit. I said it in the
you did the show before the show.
Yeah, I got it. I truly believe it's because Kawhi is not given all the credit. We talked so much about James Harden when he showed up. We talked so much about James Harden play. Kawhi has been outstanding. To me, first team All-NBA. He's been one of the best five players in the league, in my opinion, especially after, was it December 1st, they have the best record.
Yep.
So I say that to say he is been impressive, but James Harden has been the engine, the system, if you will. We remember when he was talking about that.
We all remember. Yeah.
So I just feel like that's why he's not getting. But if he continues playing like this, and the Clippers continue playing like this, his name is going to shoot up that list so fast. If they finish 1 or 2, his name is going to be a top.
I want to go on the record saying I'm pushing it up there now. Right now, mark it February 6th. I'm pushing it up there.
Yeah, I think Richard nailed it on the head. He's
Thank you.
been tremendous, and I think a lot of times you look at a team with that much star power and it gets a little bit diluted in terms of attention towards one guy. Some of these other guys have so much responsibility on their team. You talk about Joel Embiid, Jokic, they get the ball every single play. Rather, where the Clippers are playing with a guy like James Harden, they're playing with guys like Russell Westbrook, who's still coming off the bench, Paul George, obviously, even Norman Powell. They got a variety of scorers over there in that locker room, so I think sometimes the attention comes away from him. I don't know why his name's not in there, but it needs to be. He's a two-way player, especially in crunch time. And we saw last year, even in those 2 games he played against KD, he was the best player of both those games.
Guys, yeah. They just had a Miami-Atlanta back-to-back. A Miami-Atlanta back-to-back. Sort of famous in NBA circles for what happens on those back-to-backs. At the end of a 7-game road trip, Kawhi played 37 minutes. Paul George played over 30 minutes.
Yeah.
James Harden played over 30 minutes. The Hawks had won 4 games in a row and were better rested. They went toe-to-toe with them. Kawhi scored 13 in the fourth quarter, had 37 for the game, go 6-1 on the road trip.
If Kawhi
This is all everyone's ever wanted from him.
Yes, I agree. But how about Jason Tatum? Jason Tatum has been at top 1, 2, and 3 in team wins, and he never really got up to that space for the exact same reason that Kawhi. Yes, go ahead.
If Kawhi wins an MVP, do you put him ahead of KD? I just want to ask that.
In what?
No.
In all time.
No.
He's won championships by himself, all defensive teams.
No.
Now an MVP. Each of them have won. No?
No.
It's not even a conversation?
I have so much respect for KD. I have to think about it, Austin. I'm not ready to answer it, to be honest.
I'm not saying I do either. I'm just saying it's a conversation that will be had.
Well, if you win an MVP, if you win a championship, your name starts going up. And there's going to be names that you start to pass on that list.
Yeah.
But the same reason why Kawhi isn't getting all the credit for the success, and we know why. Same reason why Jason Tatum doesn't get all the credit the same way a Jokic or a Giannis or an Embiid does for the success on their team. Because they are not the sole hub of that team.
Tatum has more.
The Clippers are one of the deepest teams right now.
Clippers and Boston are very similar.
They're sharing the ball, and they're playing together, and they're rebounding, and they're defending. To me, it almost sells them short to just say that it's a Kawhi MVP discussion.
Yes.
But there's a reason why it's working, because Kawhi is leading it.
Paul George is playing at an incredible level. Kawhi Leonard has been amazing and available and healthy, and that has been the key for them. You see Russell Westbrook buying into his role. You see James Harden buying into his role. This is a team that, aside from health and maybe the Denver Nuggets, I'm not sure what else can stop them.